Namaskar and welcome to Midday Prime. Our focus this afternoon will be on the US airstrikes near the Baghdad airport that killed two military commanders, Qasem Soleimani, head of the Iranian Quds Revolutionary Guard, and an Iraqi commander and leader of a movement called the Popular Mobilization Committee, Mahdi al-Mohandis. And the US says that the Quds were supplying short-range missiles to its allies inside Iraq. And that's going to be the big news. Here are the headlines at this hour. The Pentagon confirms that the US President ordered the killing of Iranian Major General Qasem Soleimani, who heads the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's elite Quds force, in an airstrike. Iran declares 3 days of state mourning and vows revenge. Global oil prices shoot up. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says his motto for the young scientists in the country has been innovate, patent, produce and prosper. Addresses the 107th session of the Indian Science Congress in Bengaluru and says that the growth story of India depends on its success in science and technology. Rallies in support of the Citizenship Amendment Act are being organized all over the country. The Home Minister Amit Shah to visit Jodhpur, while the BJP Working President JP Nadda will be in Panaji to attend rallies in support of the act. The centre sends a high-level team of central government experts to visit the Kota hospital, where more than 100 infants have died. The Union Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan offers full support to the Rajasthan government. The Australian Navy begins evacuations of hundreds of people trapped in fire-ravaged towns of Malakuta. The bushfires so far have scorched more than 10 million acres of bushland and destroyed over 1,000 homes. And a new tennis era kicks off with the ATP Cup today in Australia. 24 nations split into 6 groups to compete for the title across 3 Australian cities. A US strike today killed the commander of Iran's powerful Revolutionary Guards, General Qasem Soleimani, at Baghdad's airport. An Iraqi commander and leader of the Popular Mobilization Committee, Abu Mahdi al-Mohandis, was also killed during the attack. General Soleimani and officials from Iran-backed militia were leaving Baghdad airport in 2 cars when they were hit by a US drone strike near a cargo area. The Pentagon confirmed the deaths, saying that the strike was carried out at the direction of the US President Donald Trump. It added that the strike was aimed at deterring future Iranian attack plans. General Soleimani was the head of Iran's elite Al-Quds force and the architect of its regional security apparatus. The Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Quds Force is a US designated foreign terrorist organization. The US President has not said anything. He's tweeted, however, an image of the US flag. Well, since 2018, the US has increased sanctions on Iran on the basic demand that Iran drops its nuclear program and pulls out of the Syrian war. All this after rejecting the nuclear deal that Iran had reached with the Obama administration. There have been charges and counter-charges, the shooting down of big drones, as well as attacks on oil tankers, the disappearance of signals of commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz. The escalation led to the US declaring the Quds a terrorist organization in April of 2019. In early December 2019, the US said that Iran was supplying short-range missiles to allied forces inside Iraq. On December 27, a rocket attack on the base near Kirkuk in northern Iraq killed a US contractor and wounded 4 US service members. 2 days later, the US launched retaliatory airstrikes on 5 facilities, 3 in Iraq, 2 in Syria, used by Iran-backed Iraqi armed group, the Kataib Hezbollah. So following Soleimani's assassination, the US Department of State has released a video where the Iraqis can be seen dancing in the street. And the Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, posted the video along with a statement saying that Iraqis dancing in the street for freedom, thankful that General Soleimani is no more.
الساعة 4:30 احتفالات بمقتل سليماني. هذا حوبة الشهداء اللي راحت ودم الشهداء والضحايا والشهداء العراقيين كلهم طلعت اليوم. الساعة 4:30 احتفالات بمقتل سليماني. هذا حوبة الشهداء اللي راحت.
Well, the U.S. Embassy in Baghdad has urged American citizens in Iraq to depart immediately for fear of a fallout from a U.S. strike that killed the top Iranian and Iraqi commanders. In a statement, the embassy said that the U.S. citizens should depart via airline while possible, and failing that, to other countries via land. Now, Iran has strongly condemned the move as an act of terrorism, declaring that General Soleimani's assassination is being seen as a massive attack on the country. The leaders unanimously said that a crushing revenge will be taken for Soleimani's unjust assassination, as they call it, for all those involved and responsible for it. The reaction comes as the foreign ministry officials held an emergency meeting, and they summoned the Swiss ambassador as the representative of the U.S. interests over this crime. 3 days of mourning has been declared. Meanwhile, Iran's President Hassan Rouhani said that Iran and the free nations of the region will take revenge on the United States for its actions. He said this while referring to Iran's allies across the Middle East. In a statement posted on the Iranian government website, Rouhani said that Soleimani's martyrdom by the aggressor and criminal America has saddened the heart of the nation of Iran and all the nations of the region. The president added that this vile and cowardly act is another sign of America's desperation and weakness in the region. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Khamenei has vowed that harsh retaliation awaits those criminals behind the martyrdom of General Soleimani, saying that resistance movement will press ahead with more strength. In a statement carried by television, in which he called for 3 days of national mourning, Khamenei stressed that all enemies should know that the jihad of resistance will continue with doubled motivation, and a definite victory awaits the fighters in the holy war. The Iranian Foreign Minister Mohammad Javad Zarif has strongly condemned the assassination of the Iran Quds Force chief Qasem Soleimani, saying that it was an extremely dangerous and foolish escalation. He further warned that the United States would bear responsibility for all consequences of its rogue adventurism. In a statement, Zarif said that the brutality and stupidity of American terrorist forces in assassinating Commander Soleimani will undoubtedly make the tree of resistance in the region and the world more prosperous. Well, and so what does all this mean? We're going to look at all this coming up in a little bit on the wall behind me. But until then, let's try and understand what does all this mean. We are waiting for that to come up. But it is basically, let's look at this now. Perhaps we can run the video wall. So what do we understand? The Quds Force is a state actor of Iran. The killing of Qasem Soleimani, what does it mean? The Quds Force is a state actor of Iran. It has the support of several states. It's not acting alone. And what are these states? Who are the states that support the Quds? Let's try and see who they are. Syria, Iraq, Palestine, North Korea, Russia, China, Qatar, among other states. There's also Serbia, Cuba, Yemen, the African Union. These are just a few. There are quite a few others also. Some of the key states that support the Quds. The non-state actors who support the Quds are Hezbollah, Hamas, Houthis, Palestinian Liberation Organization, among others, even certain groups within Iraq. Now, these are the non-Islamic Jihad in Palestine is among them as well, who are supporting the Quds. Also, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia support the Quds. But they are a banned organization by some countries, and the main opponents who have banned them are Saudi Arabia, the United States, the United Kingdom, They're terrorist organizations for these countries. France, Israel, Egypt, Bahrain, the United Arab Emirates all find that this is a terrorist organization. Kuwait, Canada, Jordan, Australia, South Korea are all the main opponents of the Quds. Japan, Argentina, Brazil, the European Union, NATO itself, the Gulf Cooperation Council, the Arab League, non-state opponents. This is a surprising one. The non-state opponents are ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Taliban. So basically the Quds were fighting against ISIS, Al-Qaeda and Taliban, which is what the US was also fighting for. The Al-Nusra Front and the Free Syrian Army. We are going to slip into a short commercial break at this point of time. Stay with us.
As the day unfolds and news and events take shape, we get you complete coverage of every news breaking in, tracking new developments as they happen. Midday Prime English, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. on DD News and DD India.
Who now? Tell me, madam. And so let's try and understand what all this means with the help of some analysis. We are joined by my colleague Ramesh Ramachandran, who's joining us from the newsroom. Ramesh, for people who have been watching this space for a while, the US-Iran relations, this is not a move that one would say is unexpected. But then what do you think is the immediate provocation? Is it disproportionate, people would ask? What's going to happen next? These are the big questions that it raises. Fill us in.
Indeed, Mark, I will reply to your question in three parts. First, viewers need to understand who Qasem Soleimani actually was. Now, Qasem Soleimani was a major general in the Iranian military, in the Iranian armed forces, and he was the head of the elite Al-Quds force, which is a unit of the IRGC, known as the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. And his unit reported directly to Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. So to that extent, he was a key confidant of the supreme leader of Iran, and one whose unit operated in many countries in the region outside of Iran, namely Syria, Lebanon, Iraq. So he formed what is known in the West as the Arc of Shia Crescent, extending all the way from Lebanon and Syria to Iran. Now that's what Qasem Soleimani actually brought to the table. Now, why was US so dead against him? Because he was the one man who was standing in the way of Washington, which wanted to increase its footprint, its influence in the region and beyond. And the Al-Quds force, with its operations and some would say its covert operations in the region and beyond, targeted US interests in the region. So the US wanted to see the back of Soleimani for many, many years now. And they've tried to assassinate him on several occasions in the past, but he's escaped on most of those occasions. That's as far as Soleimani is concerned. Now the timing, Mark, is very significant, coming as it does barely 9 months from the US elections in November this year. And Trump, for his part, wanted to showcase foreign policy success desperately. Remember, he's tried his hand at improving ties with North Korea. That has not succeeded. He's tried with Russia and China, not succeeded. So he saw Iran as one probable cause for sort of boosting his credentials ahead of the election. So that's the timing as far as timing concerned. And from India's perspective, Mark, it is a very significant move, and India will be waiting and watching how this unfolds, because Iran is a neighbor. It's important from energy security perspective and also connectivity. So India will be waiting and watching how this development unfolds in the days ahead.
Right. Before I ask you the next question, I need to clarify, because these graphics that are going on in the window don't give the picture clearly. It gave a number of countries, but those are countries that support the Quds. They don't support the killing of Iranian top commander Soleimani. So let me ask you now, what next happens, Ramesh? What's going to happen next?
Well, that's a million-dollar question, Mark. What happens next? Nobody knows. But what we do know for now is that Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has said that Iran will retaliate at a place and time of its choosing. That is a very categorical assertion by Khamenei, and how that manifests itself going forward remains to be seen. But experts suggest that Iran could respond in a number of numerous ways. One, it could block or choke the Strait of Hormuz. Remember, it's a key maritime supply route, and ships containing oil pass through that route. So Iran could possibly choke that Strait of Hormuz, and that will have disastrous consequences for countries in the region and beyond, including India, number one. Number two, Iran and its proxies in the region, namely Hezbollah in Lebanon and others, could attack or harm U.S. interests in the region. So it remains to be seen how Iran chooses to respond to this grave provocation, as the governors called it.
Right. So the question that is, Iran's response has to be based on its ability to respond. Now, with its top commander gone, I mean, is it significantly depleted? What's the kind of support? Because we do notice that both Russia and China are major countries that seem to support Iran and support our allies of the Quds in a sense. So, does that sort of change the equation a bit?
Well, Mark, that's a very interesting question you've asked there. Essentially, what we're seeing is the realignment of forces, geopolitically speaking. On Iran's side, we see, as you mentioned, Russia, China, and some countries in the region, namely Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon. On the other hand, we have the US and its allies. So it remains to be seen how this will play out in the days and months ahead. But this is undoubtedly a potentially military flashpoint in the region, given the fact that Trump wants to highlight a foreign policy success between now and November, when the elections take place. And he wants to showcase his foreign policy success in his election campaign. So he thinks that the assassination of Soleimani could give him rich dividends in the months ahead.
Well, thanks very much, Ramesh Ramachandran, for joining us. And we're also joined in the studio by Qamar Agha, who's a well-known strategic affairs analyst. Mr. Agha, the first question that comes to mind is, what is the potential of escalation? Because, well, Iran it's depleted by sanctions. It doesn't seem to have much support in the region. It's isolated as a country there. But it has certain big allies who are supported, and whether those people want to get involved, or whether those countries want to get involved, that's Russia and China, is a million-dollar question.
I don't think Russia, China, or other countries would get involved, but Iranians have their allies in the region, like which Americans call them proxies.
Okay.
In Iraq, Lebanon, Syria, Yemen, these are the people.
So these will be non-state actors.
Non-state.
Yeah.
They are not, they are controlling. Houthis have large control over large territory in Yemen. Iraq, the non-state actors have now almost become a state actor, because they have been attempts are being made to incorporate them into the armed forces, particularly the Hizb Shabi, the main Shia militant organization in Iraq. Then Hezbollah is there. Hezbollah is part of the government in Lebanon also, and is recognized by the Lebanese government. So
Yes.
therefore, they have support. They have these groups are very powerful in the region. The reason for the killing, there were a number of reasons. One is the recent attack on American embassy. Besides this, the Iranians have the balance in the Gulf was shifting towards Iran. A strategic war which was going on in the region, was in fact tilting towards in favor of Iran.
But how is that
Saudi
possible?
Arabia.
I mean, that seems a little difficult to understand, because Iran was isolated in a sense. It's apart from many of the Gulf countries led by Saudi Arabia, who are opponents to Iran. I mean, we have Israel, which is a big opponent, and there were sanctions on Iran. Half the world was not trading with Iran. So how can Iran have gained anything since 2018?
No, with the help of these militias, or with the help of these allies which it has in the region. And secondly, Iran itself is a very powerful country, So economically and otherwise, of late, because of the sanction, it is suffering, the problems, their economic problems, serious economic problems they are facing. Otherwise, Iran has emerged as a power in the region. And secondly, Iran is not isolated. I don't think it is isolated.
No, it's definitely not isolated. It has a number of supporters, there's no doubt. But the question is whether they want to get involved.
Nobody is going to involve, and Iran
Yes.
is not going to wage a major war. I don't think they are in a position to wage a. Iranian understand very well Americans' power, So
Yes, but
therefore,
this is Mr. Aga, this was a targeted elimination of a commander. So basically, it's like getting rid of the general. What happens to the army after that? It gets scattered in a sense.
No.
So I mean, this is tactical from that point of view.
Yes, but Iran will attack the American interest in the region, the American interest or the other region, and it has demonstrated its capability in the past, because the way, we have seen, Iranian Saudi oil refineries were targeted, or the ships in Yemen was Saudi ship was sunk in the outside of the Saudi waters, and then we have 2 ships were targeted in the in UAE, after that, so they have capability and they have allies in the region which are more powerful than the existing government in Iraq or Yemen, or for that matter in Lebanon or Syria. They have their presence, they have allies in the region.
Yes.
So therefore, they will, I don't believe, that full-fledged war would take place between Iran and United States.
Sure.
Iranian position would be not to hurt his allies also.
Well,
so I don't think they
it
will
would be an unequal full-fledged war. So I mean, it would obviously mean that Iran will utilize some of the militia that it has as allies to retaliate, as it says. But I'll talk to you in just a moment, Qamar Aga, because we are joined also by the business correspondent who is keeping a track of the oil prices, which have edged lower on the final day of the year. But the oil prices have gone up significantly now. So let's get an update on that. Ajay Mishra joins us with that update. Ajay, what's happened to the oil prices?
I think the oil prices has gone up by 4%, almost $3 in as far as the Brent crude is concerned. And if you see the WTI, which is the US oil, the prices have gone up by almost 3%. This is not a very good news for emerging economies like India, because in 2019, Mark, we have seen the Brent crude oil prices surging almost by 24%, whereas the oil prices in the US has gone up by 36%. So in just one day, or just you can say in just 15 minutes after the strike, the surge in the crude oil prices by almost 4% is a very big deal for the economies like India. And budget is round the corner, and crude oil prices are a very important factor when we actually prepare our union budget. So it will be a tough time for the finance minister and his and her team to actually find out the numbers and and decide on the
No,
factors.
but relatively speaking, what are the prices? I mean, are they still within a range which shouldn't be troubling us?
So the Brent crude is at the level of $69,
Okay.
and it was just $59 in October. So it has just risen $10 in just 2-3 months. But if it goes beyond $100 or
Yes,
that's
the target. So we have to be worried about that.
Yeah, absolutely. We have seen the level of $146 a barrel, and if oil prices are going to rise to that level, this is a very, very tough situation for Indian economy going forward.
Okay, thanks very much, Ajay, for those inputs. So, Kamaraga, that's a big concern because India depends heavily on oil imports, and you know, I mean, if prices are going to shoot up at 4% per day, I mean, at least in the first day, let's see how it goes from there. What do you think? I mean, how should India be looking at the situation?
It's a tense moment, you know, for India because more than 75% of our oil supplies come from this region. Then secondly, you know, more than 60 lakh Indians are working in Persian Gulf region, who almost send around 20 to 25 billion dollar annually. Then we have a huge trade with UAE and most of these countries, Saudi Arabia. We have investment also in these countries, and these countries are also investing in India. So we have a very close ties with the region, and this is the region from where the oil, most of our oil comes. So therefore, you know, peace and stability is very important for India in this particular region.
Okay.
And India would be concerned with the growing tension in the region because oil prices continues to rise, you know. $1 rise in oil prices means we lose $1 billion per month. So it's a huge amount of money.
Absolutely.
We lost, you know, $4 in the last just few hours time, you know.
Yes.
That is a big loss for India.
$4 billion is what you're saying we are losing.
Yeah, it's a big loss.
It is a matter of great concern. But, you know, regarding the timing of this particular attack, and, you know, what one would look at, there may have been many reasons for the immediate provocation. But in the U.S. itself, the Democrats are wondering why it was done. You know, they're wondering whether this is basically to take away from the impeachment, you know, proceedings against President Trump. You know, there's that famous wag the dog issue that they brought up, because apparently even when Bill Clinton was being the impeachment proceedings were brought against him, there was another attack, an inconsequential one at that time. So, you know, situations like this are being, you know, do you see much into this, or perhaps this is just the media?
You know, it was both, you know, because the attack on embassy was taken very seriously by the Americans. That was considered that Iran has crossed the red line, because the attack was made by the pro-Iranian militia based in Iraq. So that was one of the reasons, and they had to take some action, you know. Right. Secondly, you know, of course, you know, this is election year. We would like to exploit it to gain some more votes, you know. But Soleimani was not very well-known figure in United States like Bin Laden, you know. Yes. I don't think it will have much impact on the election in America, you know. But the Congress, you know, or the House Representative Nancy Pelosi and many other congressmen, they are worried about it. They are worried mainly because, you know, because the tension might escalate in the whole region.
Yes. That
would hurt the American interest. So that is a main worry for the Democrats at the moment, you know. Joe Biden has also condemned this attack, you know, and said why this thing, what was the necessity, you know, why such a step was taken, has questioned this. Besides this, other Nancy Pelosi has also come up with a very strong. They
wonder whether it could have been done without Congress's support. But anyway, thanks very much, Kamaraga, for helping us understand the situation as it stands in this US-Iranian standoff. Now, moving on to our next story, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the 107th session of the Indian Science Congress. And the theme of this year's, that's the 2020 Science Congress, is Science and Technology Rural Development. It is being held from it will be held, in fact, till the 7th of January at the University of Agricultural Sciences in Bengaluru. It's a 5-day-long science congregation witnessing over 15,000 participants, including some Nobel laureates, scientists, academicians, also researchers, students among others, delegates from different institutions, and nearly 1,500 women participants have registered for the event this year.
Innovate content, produce, and prosper. These 4 steps will lead our country towards faster development. Innovation for the people and by the people is the direction of our new India.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched the iSTEM, which is the country's first national portal of publicly funded research facilities and equipment. This will enable easy and timely access of resources to researchers working anywhere in the country. It has been developed by scientists from the Indian Institute of Science in Bengaluru. Prior to the launch of this portal, there was no mechanism for young scientists to gain access to facilities needed for experiments which are not available in their labs. As a result, they would have to individually approach institutes to seek permissions to use their facilities. The Prime Minister said that technology acts as a bridge between the common man and government, and it establishes an equilibrium between rapid development and appropriate development, or development for all.
टेक्नोलॉजी सरकार और सामान्य मानवी के बीच का ब्रिज है। टेक्नोलॉजी तेज विकास और सही विकास में संतुलन का काम करती है। टेक्नोलॉजी का अपना वायरस, टेक्नोलॉजी का अपना बायस, अपना पक्ष नहीं होता, वो निष्पक्ष होता है। यही कारण है कि जब ह्यूमन सेंसिटिविटी और मॉडर्न टेक्नोलॉजी का कोऑर्डिनेशन बढ़ता है तो अनप्रेसिडेंटेड रिजल्ट मिलते हैं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि नए वर्ष में, नए दशक में न्यू इंडिया के नए एटीट्यूड, नई अप्रोच को हम मिलकर और सुदृढ़ कर पाएंगे।
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a call to increase the use of technology in the field of rural development. He said that the technology offers unexplored opportunities in encouraging cost-effective agriculture and strengthening the farm-to-consumer supply chain network.
भारत के विकास में, विशेष तौर पर ग्रामीण विकास में टेक्नोलॉजी की उपयोगिता को हमें और व्यापक बनाना है। आने वाला दशक भारत में साइंस एंड टेक्नोलॉजी आधारित गवर्नेंस के लिए एक डिसाइसिव समय होने वाला है। विशेष तौर पर कॉस्ट इफेक्टिव एग्रीकल्चर और फार्म टू कंज्यूमर के बीच के सप्लाई चेन नेटवर्क को लेकर अभूतपूर्व संभावनाएं टेक्नोलॉजी लाने वाली है। इसका सीधा लाभ गांव को होने वाला है, ग्रामीण अर्थव्यवस्था को होने वाला है।
And the Union Science and Technology Minister Dr. Harshvardhan said that this decade will be the decade of scientific growth. He urged countrymen to support and blend their support with the Prime Minister's dreams of delivering a new India by achieving the dream of becoming a $5 trillion economy.
The next decade should be the decade of Vigyan se Vikas Dashak. And in this Science Congress, we should go back with renewed energy, renewed zeal, renewed enthusiasm, and a revisited dream of ours to deliver the new parameters for India. I think this moment should be an important moment for all of us to take a pledge to support and blend our dream with the Prime Minister's dream so that we can help him in delivering a new India and also a 5 trillion economy.
The BJP is undertaking an awareness campaign these days for people, during which its leaders and workers will contact 3 crore families to rally in support of the Citizenship Amendment Act. In the series, the BJP General Secretary Anil Jain held a press conference where he said that on the 5th of January, all major leaders of the BJP will do a door-to-door campaign. Amit Shah, JP Nadda, Rajnath Singh, Nitin Gadkari, they will all lead this campaign across Delhi, Ghaziabad, Lucknow and Nagpur.
देश में जो घर घर संपर्क अभियान है, इसके तहत हमने 5 तारीख को लॉन्चिंग का कार्यक्रम रखा है। 5 तारीख को एक साथ पार्टी के सभी वरिष्ठ नेता कहीं ना कहीं घर घर संपर्क अभियान प्रारंभ करेंगे। माननीय अमित शाह जी दिल्ली से, श्री जगत प्रकाश नड्डा जी जो हमारे कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष हैं वो गाजियाबाद से, माननीय राजनाथ सिंह जी लखनऊ से, नितिन गडकरी जी नागपुर से, ऐसे सभी वरिष्ठ नेता और सभी मुख्यमंत्री, पूर्व मुख्यमंत्री, उप मुख्यमंत्री इस कार्यक्रम का शुभारंभ करेंगे 5 तारीख को।
And the BJP has also launched a toll-free number 88662. That's 88662 for citizens to get full information on CAA. The BJP has sought the cooperation of sharing any picture and video supporting the CAA. 88662, 88662 is the number.
जो कार्यक्रम होने वाला है उससे घर घर संपर्क अभियान की लॉन्चिंग होगी। सभी कार्यकर्ताओं के लिए जहां जाएंगे वहां के लिए एक मिस्ड कॉल नंबर, उस पर आग्रह किया है कि मिस्ड कॉल नंबर से टोल फ्री मिस्ड कॉल कराएंगे 886662 88662। ये इस टोल फ्री नंबर पर घर घर संपर्क के दौरान और सभी अभियानों में इस टोल फ्री नंबर का उपयोग हम करेंगे। साथ ही साथ ऐसे कार्यक्रमों के चित्र, फोटोग्राफ्स और उस पर कमेंट्स इंडिया सपोर्ट्स सीए #इंडिया सपोर्ट्स सीए पर डालेंगे, ऐसा आग्रह करने वाले हैं।
Senior BJP leader Piyush Goyal today accused the opposition of creating confusion over the CAA, delivering the keynote address at a program on why India needs the CAA. In Mumbai, he said that the government has taken numerous bold initiatives in the national interest.
शायद कंफ्यूज्ड है या एक डेलिब्रेट प्लान के हिसाब से कोशिश कर रहा है कि जनता को कंफ्यूज किया जाए इस सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट के बारे में। हो सकता है उनको लग रहा हो कि ये सरकार तेज गति से देशहित और जनहित के इतने सारे कार्य कर रही है कि विपक्ष की रेलेवेंस कम ना हो जाए, और उसी के कारण सिटीजनशिप अमेंडमेंट एक्ट पास होने के साथ ही उन्होंने एक पूरे गलत फहमियों के आधार पर देश में प्रचार प्रसिद्धि शुरू की, हमारे युवा भाई बहनों को भड़काने की कोशिश की, अलग अलग स्थानों पे हिंसा की भी वारदात करने की कोशिश की। तो हमें लगा कि एक अच्छा रहेगा कि हम सब देश भर में जनता के बीच में जाएं, जनता के साथ संपर्क करें। अंदाजन 3 करोड़ परिवारों के साथ अगले 10 दिन में संपर्क होगा और जो गलत फहमियाँ प्रसिद्ध करने की कोशिश हुई है उसको हम ख़त्म करने के लिए प्रयास करेंगे।
And the BJP national president, the working president that is, JP Nadda, will address a rally in Panaji in Goa. He will also attend the Atmiya Yuva Mahotsav, which is at Vadodara in Gujarat.
आजकल हमारी कांग्रेस पार्टी दलित 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 की बात कर रही है, घड़ियाली आंसू बहा रही है।
BJP President Amit Shah is also, in fact, attending a rally in support of the Citizenship Amendment Act in Jodhpur, and we'll get you an update on that in a short while from now. The centre has sent a team of 4 experts to take stock of the situation following the deaths of children in a Kota hospital in Rajasthan. The multidisciplinary expert team includes top pediatricians. They've been sent by the Union Health and Family Welfare Ministry for gap analysis and also to take quick measures. The high-level team includes experts from the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, Jodhpur, and the Regional Director of the Health Services, Jaipur. Rajasthan ministers Raghu Sharma and Pratap Singh were also visiting the hospital today. Meanwhile, over 100 children died at the JK Lone Hospital, which has happened since the 1st of December.